right. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Streaming as a Career Path, with speaker Momo Misfortune. My name is Sherelle Bethel, and I am the Project Director for Project Power. Project Power is funded by the Rehabilitation Service Administration, which supports parent centers in Arizona, California, Colorado, Idaho, Nevada, New Mexico, and Utah to build capacity for transitioning youth with disabilities and their families. Today, we will spend an hour interviewing Momo Misfortune. Momo uses they, them pronouns. Momo is a streamer on Twitch, and we'll discuss Momo's streaming journey and their accomplishments. We'll talk about mental health and streaming, and then the work behind streams. To get the best experience, we ask that everyone turn off their mics and cameras. In the upper right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see a little box with 9 small squares with the word view next to it. If you click on that box and click hide non-video participants, you should only see me, Momo, and the ASL interpreter on your screen. We also have closed captioning available. We have a list of pre-questions created for Momo, and I will start with these questions. However, if you have a question, please type it in the chat. If it is a question we will already be asking, I will save it for that section of the interview. If it's a new question, Quina will monitor the chat and chime in to let me know that there is a question. If you prefer to raise your hand and ask your question out loud, please use the raise hand function in the reaction section at the bottom of the screen. Again, if it's a question that's already on the list, we'll ask it when we get there. But if it's a new question, Momo can answer on the spot. We have already incorporated your questions into the interview if you submitted questions when you registered. This webinar is recorded, and I will send out this recording along with a resource and a survey for you to fill out within 48 hours. And then we will also put the link to the survey in the chat 5 minutes before the end, so you can also fill out the survey then. So let's get started. Momo, thank you so much for joining us today. As you know, I'm a fan. I created a Twitch account about 6 months ago, and I got my Twitch recap yesterday, and I watched your stream for an embarrassing number of hours.
I need to know the exact amount of hours.
I know. So one of the reasons I reached out to you to do this webinar is the environment that you create for your viewers. It's a safe space, and those who join your lives immediately feel welcomed. So Momo, thank you for being here again. Please take a minute to introduce yourself, and then we'll get into the questions.
Thank you for having me. So my name is Momo. My pronouns are they, them. I am a trans non-binary and chronically ill Twitch partner / content creator. My main focus for my platform is to promote diversity and inclusivity through Sims 4 gameplay. And I use it to help create a safe space, mainly for LGBTQIA2+ folks to feel welcome and accepted.
Okay. So let's jump in. So how long have you been streaming?
I think about 3.5 years. I started in June of 2020.
Okay. How did you know you wanted to be a streamer?
When I first started playing The Sims 4 in particular, I discovered this whole section of YouTube that had Sims 4 content creators that I didn't know about. And so watching a lot of people play The Sims and create content on YouTube for it, I was like, I could do this. This could be fun. And I sat on that for years before I actually did anything and started to do anything. And then, the pandemic happened. So I was like, guess now's the time to do it.
Pandemic was a good time to start a lot of new activities.
A lot of people started streaming in 2020.
How did people respond to your desire to be a streamer?
So I didn't really the only people that I really told were my spouse and my close friends, and they were all very supportive of me because it gave me something to do, especially since pandemic started in March of 2020, and I couldn't go to work because I'm chronically ill and immune compromised. So I just sat at home on my computer doing nothing, like a lot of people. So it was definitely, people were supportive because it was a way to keep myself busy, to be doing something.
Okay. How do you deal with people who don't believe that streaming can be a career path?
Thankfully, I've never personally encountered anybody like that. And I think that if I did, it's just one of those things where I know my success and I feel like I don't have to prove that to anybody. Um, and the people that, like I surround myself with are supportive of me. So that's really all that matters, like in my mind. And that is really all that should matter.
Okay. What do you enjoy most about streaming?
The community and meeting so many people from like all over the place. It's wild to think, especially there's a lot of people that watch my streams that are like over in Europe because of like the time zone. So that's interesting to like think about. And you forget that just because you live somewhere, like in my mind, sometimes I still think that everybody's in the US that's watching my stream, and then somebody will like talk about someone else. I'm like, oh yeah, you're from this place. Or I have people that watch me in Australia and it's like 3 a.m. for them when they're watching streams. So just being able to meet people from like everywhere and make those connections with people is awesome.
Okay. What do you think is the most challenging part of streaming?
Sometimes, especially being neurodivergent, sometimes it can be hard to keep up with chat, especially if you're really invested in a game and you're doing something. Like sometimes I'll have to remind myself, be like, oh, there's people actually watching me right now that I should be talking to. So sometimes I can zone out really easily. So that's just trying to remember to stay on top of that is can be challenging.
Yeah. I think that you've done a good job with that. I've seen, and I always like, how
It
can people play and talk? Because I'm very focused. Like, don't talk to me. I'm trying to play.
yeah,
So
it's you gotta it's one of those things that you just gotta learn. And then
yeah,
like once you get the hang of it, it's hard, but then sometimes you slip back into it and you're like, wait a minute, gotta remind myself.
yeah, it's a talent for sure.
Mhm.
How does streaming make working better or worse for your disability?
It makes it so much better. So because I'm immune compromised, like I said, the when the pandemic started, I had to stop going to work. I used to manage a independently owned coffee shop before the pandemic happened. So started streaming, and then within under a year is when I went full time. So I started streaming June 2020, went full time in January or February of 2021. Um, is when I officially considered myself full time. So being able to not have to worry about, especially if I since I get sick a lot, not having to worry about calling in to work and being like, can't come to work because I'm sick. I could just go online and be like, I'm not going to stream today because I'm not feeling well, and I'm my own boss and I make my own rules. So it's takes a lot of that pressure off. Being a chronically ill person, being able to make your own schedule and do things on at your own pace is a privilege.
Yeah. I'm going to stop our just real quick. We had a question in the chat that says, what is the definition of streaming? We didn't even kind of go into that a little bit.
Streaming is there's so many different definitions because so many people do so many different things. So for me, streaming is getting online. Um, Specifically, I stream on Twitch, so I'll uh broadcast myself on Twitch playing video games. Uh, but so many people will do like there's people who stream themselves baking, doing art. Some people just sit and talk. Um, there's just so many different things that people do. So it's really just depends on how you use it. But overall, it's just broadcasting yourself live on the internet.
Okay. So I'm going to jump into some of your accomplishments. I want you to tell us a little bit about your journey of campaigning for pronouns in The Sims 4. Maybe tell a little bit about Sims 4. I know we're both avid Sims players, but for people who don't
It's
know.
I feel like it's The Sims is a simulation game. I feel like like everybody knows The Sims. So anytime I have to like describe it, I'm like, how do you not know The Sims? But it's a simulation game. Basically, you can make people, dress them up, make houses. There's different expansion packs that involve different things. It's just like a sandbox type of game, I guess, where you can do anything basically. Um, and it's a it's always been a big game when it comes to like queer representation. It was one of the first simulation games that offered, like same-sex relationships like early on, even though it was technically an accident. They still had it in there. Um so for The Sims 4, uh just playing it and being like, oh, it'd be kind of cool. Like this, The Sims. I think people in the Sims community were very lucky because the developers of The Sims are very active in the community, so they will listen to things that we want and will work to put them into the game. Uh, so one day I had the thought, and a lot of other people have had the thought, like, oh, it'd be nice if we had pronoun options, so our Sims weren't limited on what their pronouns were based on the body type that you pick for them when you create that character. Um, so I talk about it on stream a lot, and I think I was talking about it on Twitter, um, and then I think I had made a comment on stream one day, like I should just start a petition to, or like start tweeting every single day at the Sims Twitter to add pronouns into the game. I was like, I should just do that. And people in our chat were like, yeah, you should just do that. So it's like, okay, so I started doing it, just tweeting at the Sims every single day. Day one of asking the Sims for pronouns, day two. So I did that, and then those tweets started getting attention. I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting this because I was a smaller creator at the time. And then one day somebody commented on one of the tweets that I should create a petition for it. So the petition wasn't even originally my idea. Like the actual idea for the petition was somebody being like, you should do this because, it's getting so much attention. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. So I did it. And then 20,000 signatures later, I think it took 70 something days. And on that last day, there was a Sims live stream where they were announcing um, things that they were working on and answering questions. And that is when they um, announced that they were looking into figuring out how to add pronouns into the game. And I was live watching that live stream. So I have a clip of my reaction to that where I'm just bawling my eyes out. And then I think a year after that is when they officially got put in the game. And I was very lucky to be able to work with The Sims to celebrate the launch of pronouns coming into the game.
That's awesome.
It's sometimes I think about it's still such a surreal thing that happened.
I think it goes to say too when people talk about like, well, streamers don't do anything, or like you guys have so much pull when you have
Mm-hmm.
a large audience and people that are
Mm-hmm.
following you to.
Yeah. And I was a, very I wasn't a Twitch partner yet. I was a very small creator. It just got attention and people saw it. So I think it shows it doesn't matter how big of an audience you have, that your voice still matters no matter what.
Okay. Tell us about Utopia. Talk a little bit about that.
Oh, so my stream team is Euphoria. Um stream teams on Twitch partners in particular can create teams where you can invite groups of people to join, and it's like just like a group of people. I don't know how else to describe it. Um but so I wanted to create Euphoria. Euphoria is for non-binary and gender non-conforming streamers. And it came about as a way because within the gaming industry, I think within society in general, but within the gaming industry, non-binary and gender non-conforming folks are often seen as woman light. Um, and so I created it with one of my good friends as a way to show that, not all non-binary people look a certain way and don't owe you a certain way of looking, and that we all look different. Um, and a lot of stream teams do different things. Some focus on charity, some do like these big events, but ours is just to like, be in each other's presence and uplift each other and support each other, and to show, the gaming industry that we're all different.
Thank you. How do you get sponsors and partnerships?
So it depends. There are, and I'm still learning about these. I just found one recently, but there are a couple different websites that you can go to. Oh, forgot I was gonna write down the name of some of these. Wait, hold on, let me see if I think I might have it saved. So there's different websites that you can link your Twitch account to. There is one called WeHype, and then there's another one called Lurk It. So there's websites. This is the easiest way to do it. There are websites like that where you can link your Twitch account to, and they will gather your stats for you, and pe- partnerships and sponsorships will like look at those, and then every like occasionally you might be reached out with an opportunity through those. So that's one way. Um, Other ways are you could just reach out to people yourself. Um, I've tried doing that. Has it worked? I don't remember. But I know a lot of people that do that. Um, Sometimes sponsorships will just reach out to you. You could just simply be existed. You never know who's watching your streams. So sponsorships can reach out to you. Make sure your email address is visible on everything. Make sure it's on your Twitch profile. Make sure it's on your Twitter, Instagram, whatever you use. Make sure your email is visible, so that way sponsorship opportunities can they can reach out to you. Another way is to make what is called a pitch deck or a media kit, which will basically have information about you. So it'll be like, here's my name, here's a little bit about me, here's my stream statistics. So most partnerships will want to know how many viewers, like your average viewers, how many followers you have, uh, and stuff like that to determine if they want to work with you, I guess. There's also big differences between sponsorships and partnerships. Most of the time, partnerships are going to be um, things where you will have an affiliate code. So it'd be like, I have some partnerships where it's like, use code Momo for 10% off this thing. And then that 10% you get in like money back. So those are what partnerships are. And then sponsorships are where they will most of the time pay you in money or pay you with like they'll send you a free product uh to promote stuff like that. There's so many different ways, but one thing to always remember is to know your worth, never get taken advantage of, because there's so many people, especially smaller creators, so many companies will try to take advantage of you to promote their products for free. And so
Yeah. I like that you said that. That's something that we have a youth advisory community right now, and we pay our youth to be on the community. And one of in particular is like, I'll do work for you for free. Like, what do you want me to do? And I was like, never offer your services for free.
know
Anytime,
your worth, you deserve to be paid.
100%.
So we have a question in the chat. Could you please show an example of a media kit?
If I could, let me see if I could pull it up on my phone actually. There are different, so mine in particular is I have it built through a website. What is this? Yeah, view my media kit. Maybe. Actually, could I drop a link in the chat? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so here is where I'm gonna put that in there. That is where my media kit is, but you can like kind of you're not gonna be able to see
Here,
it.
I'll share my screen real quick so we can see it, and then you can talk about it from there. Give me just a second.
There we go. Yeah, so that's what mine looks like. I have my little like bio about me, how much I charge per hour for like a sponsored Twitch stream. I will also do like sponsored Instagram posts, TikToks, tweets. And then down below I have the branded partners that I've worked with before. And then I think at the very bottom it might show some of my like statistics. Yeah, for like Twitch followers, uh average stream views, some of the other stuff doesn't show up, but then it also has my TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter linked. So it shows all that. And other people do them different ways, but I like that there are websites now like this one where it's all like built in, and it makes it very easy and not as complicated for people who are still trying to figure out how this works.
And
Are you-
Momo, questions just about in general how to make money from streaming. So is there anything other than sponsorships or partnerships?
Yeah, so when you hit this is Twitch specific because this is the only place that I stream. Well, I guess I'll talk about the streaming in particular part. So when you hit Twitch affiliate, you can start making money through people subscribing to your channel. People will also be able to cheer bits, which is like Twitch's currency. So like 100 bits is like $1. So that's most people's first way of making money on Twitch. The only big problem, and this is something that a lot of streamers talk about, especially when you're an affiliate, you will only get so subs on Twitch, people have to pay $5 to subscribe to you, but you as a streamer only get 50% of that. So you will get $2.50 per subscriber that you have. But Twitch is also now introducing a more, what they call is a more consistent way of making revenue through playing ads. So you will also make money through ad revenue on Twitch. So those are like the basic ways of making money through streaming is subscribers and bits on Twitch.
I believe you're doing I think I don't know if it's the affiliate thing, but you're trying to get, I don't know if it's a partnership or something where people subscribe. So tell us a little bit about that, because is that
Yeah,
more?
so excuse me. Now Twitch introduced a program called the Partner Plus program, where so for Twitch partners, there's also different levels of Twitch subs. There's tier 1, which is $5. Tier 2, people pay $10 a month, and tier 3, people pay $25 a month. For Twitch partners, at tier 1, you still get 50%. At tier 2, you get 60% of the amount that people pay, and then tier 3, you get 70% of that. So there has been a big push for Twitch to pay all streamers a 70-30 split for all subs for everybody. So there's this new program called the Partner Plus program, which is that 70-30 split for Twitch partners, but you have to hit a specific goal in order to get to that, which is 350 concurrent subs. And this doesn't count gifted subs because people can gift you subs. So you essentially have to have 350 people individually subscribe to you, and you have to hold that for 3 months in order to get into the Partner Plus program, which you are then in for a year. So then once you hit it and you're in, you don't have to keep that 350 a month number to get your 70-30 split. But then once that year is up, you have to do it again. So it's just a very complicated thing.
Okay, I'm gonna skip this one. So tell us a little bit about TwitchCon. What's TwitchCon?
TwitchCon, it's a big convention. It was held in Vegas this year, which was an experience. But it is basically a convention for streamers and people in the community, people who watch streamers to go to and like mingle and socialize, I guess. There's a bunch of different panels that go on that different streamers host, or like companies will host. There was like a big hall that had a bunch of different brands, and you can go and like buy things, or you can go and like talk to people to be like, hey, here's my business card, we should work together, like type of thing. So for me as a streamer, it was like a networking event to go and to like meet people and discuss things, and big convention.
I'm gonna detour us for just a minute because you mentioned merch. Isn't merch another way to make money?
Oh yes, and I forget about that because I don't have merch yet, but people constantly ask me. But some people have an easier time with it, but I feel like because I'm so specific about what I want, I have to like hire somebody to like do it. But I know a lot of friends of mine who will design their own merch, and it's very easy. There's like the most popular website people use is a site/brand called Fourth Wall. which has Twitch integration, which is really cool because then people can go on fourth wall and gift merch to somebody in your chat, and it'll like open up a giveaway so somebody can win merch. It's really fun. But companies like that make it super easy for you to like set up a store and put together merch and then sell it, and then you get the money from doing that.
Right. And merch is like t-shirts or sweaters or hats or
Literally,
your
they have
brand.
anything that you can think of. They have candles. If you want candle merch, they got it.
Where are my questions? Let's see. So tell us kind of about your, well, I guess you were on a panel for TwitchCon. So tell us a little bit about that.
It was not as scary as I thought it was going to be because I heard it was in like one of the biggest rooms. And so I was like, we got in there and I saw all the chairs. I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a lot, but it wasn't that bad. But the charity or the panel that I was on was about creative incentives for charity live streaming. So it was me and some friends talking about different ways that we've raised money for charity, different like incentives that we've done, different milestones that we've done. And then there was a Q&A of people asking some like other questions about, like, how do you do this? How do you do that? And there was also people, because it was about charity, there were also people who had come to watch that worked with charities, coming to like thank us for the work that we've done and ask like how they as like charities can like do thing like help work with streamers for like certain things. It was a great experience.
Awesome. Okay, we're gonna jump into kind of the mental health aspect of streaming. So one, how do you create a safe space for your followers?
Should have like thought about this one maybe a little bit more. I always so we always make sure that it's such like a, I mean, obviously like we when I say we, I mean myself and the moderators, we always make sure like to create a safe space is to like, if people come in and they're like trying to be, disruptive to the stream or, like say nasty things, we'll make sure to get rid of them. If there's certain like world events going on that could be like a little intense, we'll always make sure that, people have a place in the Discord to like talk about it and stuff like that. There's just like I think, and also being a streamer and being like open to talking about certain things also helps, like create that safe space because, if I am vocal about certain things, especially things that I believe in, it'll prevent people that, maybe you don't want in your community from staying in your community because their values won't align with your values if you talk about them like publicly.
Okay. Okay. So one of the questions that we had from our registrations was wondering what the risk of posting my life on social media as a person who's vulnerable to the community.
I personally, I highly recommend. I mean, I know a lot of people, and like I have a lot of friends who have like their names in particular, like publicly online. I don't. I keep, obviously I go by Momo Misfortune online. That's all people know me by. I try to keep my life as private as possible. Even things you would never expect, people can like find you by, like posting pictures of certain parts of the inside of your house. People can do reverse Google searches on that to try to find like your house listing to figure out where you live. If I go somewhere, like people know the general area where I live in, but if I go somewhere and I wanted to post a picture of where I was, I will wait to post it until after I'm already gone. Things like that. I'm very serious when it comes to online safety because I don't want, people to find me. So I think everybody should take extra precautions when it comes to posting about your, you know, pictures in general and like talking about like where you've been and stuff, you know, online. Cause you could be like a super small creator, but you never know what people are gonna try to do on the internet.
Okay. So I guess I think we talked a little bit about this, but I wrote down what are the safety protocols you take on your streams? And in this, I said when we talked, you mentioned kind of blocked terms.
Yes. So on Twitch in particular, I also have some set up through the bot service that I use. But Twitch allows you to add blocked terms. That way, if somebody tries to type those in your chat, they won't go through. So I think like some of the basic things that you can have blocked is like your legal name, maybe your street address. So if somebody tries to go into your chat and dox you, which is, you know, like post your public information online, they won't be able to do it. Other things, you know, like maybe like nasty phrases, block, so those won't come through. Sometimes if there's one thing that a lot of people love to do, this is an unfortunate thing, but it's just I think the reality of being a streamer. If there's like a celebrity death, people love to come into your chat and tell you about it as soon as it immediately happens. And it's one of those things where you can't really like how, because they want to see your reaction to it. So having to stay on top of those and putting those names into your block terms so people can't come into your chat and do that. Um, there's a lot.
How do you manage your mental health as a streamer?
Taking days off when needed, because some days there will just be times where you'll wake up and just be like, today is not the day. It's just not happening today. So recognizing that and taking that day off to just kind of, you know, relax, maybe play a game on your own time or, you know, do a hobby or whatever, um, is really important, especially because there will be, and I've seen it happen. It's happened to me. Last year I had a really bad burnout, so I had just been streaming constantly and constantly. And then it got to a point where I was like, I lost all my motivation to like stream, to like do anything. So I was like, I need to take a week off and just have me time and just, you know, recuperate. And so doing that is so, so, so important because I see it happen to so many streamers who just get burnt out from constantly overworking themselves. So being able to recognize that, take that day off or that week off when you need it is so important.
Right. And that's one of the perks of being your own boss too, is that
exactly you can afford to take that time off.
Right. So tell us a little bit about, we talked a little about this too. What is trauma dumping and how do you handle that on your streams?
It is so trauma dumping is when it could be anything, but like, so an example, this is one thing in particular a lot of people love to come in and do, but you'll come into chat, be like, oh, my pet just, you know, passed away, you know, stuff like that, and they'll be really upset about it. Or, you know, something similar along those lines. Like something bad has happened in this person's life and they are looking for comfort and to be, you know, consoled. But you as a streamer it sucks when things like that do happen. And you, as a person, you want to be there for them, but also you have to, you know, keep your peace and, you know, protect your mental health. And you are not a therapist. You are not, you know, trained to do things like that. So, and it's hard to do, but when things like that do happen in your chat, for me, I have my mods delete it and message the person and be like, hey, sorry this happened. If you need to vent, you know, we have a space in our Discord server for it, so you can like let that out. But, you know, being on stream is not the place to do that. There are different, because sometimes people will just come into chat, be like, oh, I'm just having a bad day. And that's obviously different, and be like, I'm sorry you're having a bad day. Like, hope we can help cheer you up. So things like that are a lot. And I've have like people who are in my community now know that they can do that instead of just completely dumping, you know, like every little detail about what happened. So
Yeah.
you have to protect your peace when it comes to things like that. And it's never easy. You always feel bad when you have to delete somebody's message where they're, venting that stuff out, but
Yeah. Gotta protect you.
mhm.
All right. We're gonna shift a little bit to the work behind the stream. So we're gonna start with a question, another one from the registration. What equipment do you use and what is definitely needed?
I use a lot of things. And I was very lucky in my streaming journey that I had a sponsorship opportunity to be able to purchase all of these very expensive things that I use. So I have, a really nice camera, I have a really nice microphone, I have a mixer that goes with it. I have what's called a stream deck, which is like has all it won't let me pick it up. Can you see that? No. But in my streaming software, it has buttons that'll like change things in my streaming software, mute my microphone, all that stuff. So like I've been very lucky to be able to get all these nice things, but the only thing you need to start streaming is a microphone. That's it. You don't need a camera if you don't want to. A lot of people choose not to be on camera to stream, but talking is the most important thing you will do as a streamer. So, and it doesn't even need to be a nice microphone. You could find like a $30 microphone on Amazon and that'll get the job done. I think my first microphone that I used was like a $50, I think it's called like a Blue Snowball. And that is what I used for a very long time.
Okay. And I see a lot of streamers that play through the computer, but can you also stream if you have Xbox or PlayStation? Do you know?
You can stream direct. I'm not sure about Xbox, but I'm assuming that you can. But I know if you have a console, you can stream directly to Twitch from your console. Because I, like years ago for fun, I streamed from my PS4 onto Twitch. That way friends could watch me play a game. Especially if you have a microphone for your console, that'll like pick it up too. So you can stream from your console, but other people, so if you're have your whole streaming set up like at your computer, you can get a what's called a capture card for your computer to like plug your gaming console into it, so you can still have your whole computer set up, but then like broadcast your console game. Because
Okay.
obviously everything's going to be different if you do it directly from your console.
Then we had a question in the chat that said, I want to be able to stream as a career too, but I apparently can't due to not having the right router for it. Do you have any suggestions for ISPs that offer good routers for streaming, or what do you use?
I have no idea. My husband is the internet guy. So I honestly have no idea. I'm so sorry. I can't help with the specific like router stuff. I am not sure.
Okay, so maybe that's something we can look into and see if we can.
Yeah, I mean, I can always ask him and then just let you know and then pass that information along.
Absolutely.
But also I have my computer is plugged directly. Like my computer doesn't use, I have a desktop computer and it doesn't use Wi-Fi. My is directly plugged in, so I don't have to worry about like any of that because I know some people have, if you have like a Wi-Fi thing in your computer, your Wi-Fi can go out. So it's always better. If you can, it's always better to have your computer directly plugged into the internet.
And then another comment that said strong Wi-Fi, yes.
Yeah. Strong Wi-Fi.
Okay. I guess it's kind of similar along the same lines, but this is another question from registration. What is a good starting point for a young streamer just starting?
I mean, I guess it would depend on, what you want to do. I mean, if you're it's one of those things where there's never a perfect starting point. You kind of just have to dive into it because if you overthink it, then you're never going to do it, which is what happened to me. I kept overthinking it and I just put it off for too long. So you just gotta, even if you don't have a microphone yet, I mean, you could still just, stream, you could just play a game and just stream it up. And if somebody comes into your chat, you could just type back to them. You just have to go for it.
I like that. Wait, where am I? About how many hours a week? So we want to talk a little bit about streaming is not just about the on-screen gaming time. So about how many hours a week do you work?
I thought about this. So I typically stream 5 hours a day for 4 hours. 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. So that's 20 hours of being on camera streaming. And then after I stream, I'll probably spend 2 or 3 hours making a thumbnail for my stream, highlighting the VOD to send over to my YouTube channel. Also, before I stream, I have to set up everything, post on Twitter, make my schedule for the week because I do that on Mondays. Mondays, I make my schedule for the week. I think I estimated about like 40 hours, like actual what feels like working. But realistically, it's more than that because I am constantly looking at Twitter to keep up with social media and see what is all happening. Chatting in my Discord server with community members. So I'm constantly like looking in there. So sometimes it just feels like I'm working 24/7.
And then it's helpful to have, because you mentioned like Twitter and then Discord and YouTube. So it's helpful to have like multiple social media.
And yeah, and there's also TikTok, which I forgot to mention. So people make TikToks and then, of your Twitch clips to send those to TikTok in the hopes that, you'll bring people over from TikTok onto your Twitch. But it's exhausting, especially, if you're chronically ill and you're tired. Not everybody has the energy to do that. So it's hard. And I can't even keep up. I don't remember the last time I posted on TikTok because I'm like, I'm too tired. I can't do this right now.
Yeah. So you have to have some editing skills as well.
Yeah, because I cannot afford to pay somebody else to do it. And that's, some people can, but, realistically, not everybody can. So you have to do it all yourself.
Okay. And then if someone chooses, like, maybe they don't want to do this full time, they can do it on like a slimmer, like, because you said you set your own schedule. So if they're like, 40 hours or more a week is too much for me, I can only do this. And they just kind of have to pick and choose what it is that they want to do.
Yeah.
Okay. A question from the chat. What are good editing apps to use for thumbnails and to edit clips?
For my thumbnails, I use Canva, which I really like. And then to edit clips, unfortunately, the website that I was using, it was called Join Combo, and I was partnered with them actually, which was nice. But unfortunately, they are closing down and shutting down the website. So now I need to figure out how to edit my my TikToks. But when it comes to highlighting your Twitch VODs, so like if you want to highlight your VODs and then send them over to YouTube, Twitch has a built-in highlighter where you can like cut out parts from the video you don't want to be in the highlight so that it's like all built in, which makes it actually, I forgot. Twitch now has a built-in editor for clips too to like shift them for like TikTok format. I forgot about that. So Twitch has that built in now too.
Perfect. Another question from chat. Does the amount of time you spend equate to the amount of money you make, or is it more passive income because of sponsors?
I never really thought about how much work I do versus how much money I make. I never really thought about that. I am a YouTube partner too on my VOD channel, so I do make ad revenue on YouTube monthly, which is nice. You can also TikTok now has a program where if you I think you have to have like a certain amount of followers and like views or something, which is, it's typical for everything. Um, or if you're in the program and you have a video on TikTok that's a minute long or longer, you can make money off of that. Um, I feel like I definitely put more work into everything than money I'm making. It's also been, for me personally, I haven't had sponsorship opportunities since the beginning of this year. It's just been a very hard year for a lot of people when it comes to sponsorships. So I personally don't count on sponsorships to make money when it comes to my income. It depends.
Okay. We talked a little bit about this, what are the behind the scene tasks that you have to do? So that's the kind of the editing and okay, jump to that one. So another one from our registration question was how to learn, I want to learn how to stream and make a VTuber model. Any advice?
Yes. So VTubing can be very expensive. To get a full model that is like drawn and rigged and stuff all set up, that can be very expensive. But there are a lot of people who want to become VTubers that start out as PNG tubers. So what it is just a static image instead of something that's like following your camera and like moving around with you. Um, so they'll commission somebody to just do an image that's just mouth closed and then another one the same that's mouth open. And there is a program that you can put those images to called uh video tube mini that you can set up, put those images in, and then like capture it into your streaming software. So when you talk, mouth opens and then closes. A lot cheaper than like in a full VTuber model, and it's a good start.
All right, we're at our last two questions for me. The first one is, what advice would you give to youth about becoming a streamer?
Be safe on the internet. Um, don't I highly recommend not to tell people how old you are. Um, which is something that I, follow in my chat because we are a PG-13 community. So, which I know my community mostly has adults. Um, and so sometimes the adults will try to talk about how old they are, which, even if you're over 18, I'm like, don't talk about how old you are because if you do that, then the younger people in the chat will be like, I'm 14 or 15, and I don't want, anything bad to happen. I want to keep it, safe. So don't tell people how old you are. Um, don't give out your real name. That's just my biggest thing. Don't give out your real name. Um, and simple stuff like that. Just basic internet safety. Just be safe.
Okay, and then the last one is, what advice would you give to parents and teachers about youth who want to become streamers?
Be supportive. Because it's, a couple years ago, I feel like now streaming and content creating has become a more, like people are starting to realize how, like more of a career, I guess it is becoming for, I don't know how else to word that. Um, Especially, when it comes to people who are disabled and chronically ill and stuff like that, we don't really have a choice when it comes to uh other jobs. Like for me personally, when I first started trying to find work, every time I told people, like potential employers, that I had a chronic illness, they would never call me back to hire me. So I had to learn to stop telling people that I was chronically ill until after I got hired. And then it was one of those things where I'm like, here's, I need to be able to use the bathroom whenever I need to. And, they want to be, kind of like annoyed at you, but they can't. Um, so, just being supportive and, making sure that they're being, safe online and, provide resources for them, is very important.
Okay. So that is all the questions that I have. Does anyone else in the chat have questions? Feel free to come off mute or continue adding questions to the chat.
I actually have a question. Do you have to be good at a game to be a streamer, or are there people who just have fun doing whatever?
People love to watch you be bad. So as long as you're just having fun, that's all that really matters. Because people, as much as people love to watch you be bad, people also love to watch people, watch you have fun and have a good time because it creates a positive and fun vibe for the stream.
That was a great question.
That was a good question.
Okay. Any other questions? One of you will put the survey in the chat now because we'll be going to end shortly. Any final words, Momo?
Thank you again for having me. This was a really fun experience, and I hope that I gave some good advice.
Yeah, I think we did. We wrote down anything that you shared with us link wise. We wrote down, so we'll be sharing that with our viewers next when I send out the email. So you guys will have all that information of the things that were shared here today.
Remember, when you start streaming, just have fun. Just don't take it. I think if you don't take it too seriously, just have fun, just vibe, do whatever you want to do. Remember to talk.
Talking is important.
Talking is important.
Right. Well, thank you everyone for coming today. Momo, thank you again. Brittany was our ASL interpreter today. Thank you for your time today. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Take the survey if you can. I'll send it out again in email along with the recording and some more information. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you for having me again.
Yes. And then someone in the chat said that they did learn something new. So
Yay.
bye everyone.